bap basements, low-rider G-funk. One decade rewired the culture. These aren't just hits, they're the moments hip-hop changed the rules. Across 15 tracks, we'll break down the flips in sound, flow, and production that moved the center. From Dre's synth glide to Nas's street cinema, Wu's grimy minimalism, Missy's future shock, OutKast's southward shift, and more. If your 90s starts and ends with a playlist, you're missing the why. By the end, you'll hear exactly how each record bent radio, rewrote rap, and redrew the map. This is Hip Hop Lore. Subscribe, hit the bell, and let's drop the needle on the top 15 90s classics that changed the game. Drop your one missing classic plus why it mattered. I'll pin the best for part 2.
And if the other party isn't gaming, it seems I gotta start the explaining. Bust it. You ever had a girl that met her on
O.P.P. is the moment East Coast party rap learned to speak pop without losing its teeth. The record is built on an instantly familiar piano riff, a wink at Motown childhoods, sitting over a hard, unfussy drum program that keeps heads nodding even as the chorus invites suburban sing-along. Treach's verses are pure motion, internal rhymes snapping into place while he plays cat and mouse with the beat's pockets.
relationships is just room to hit it. How many brothers out there know this what I'm getting at? Who think it's wrong?
The hook is a masterclass in crowd engineering. 3 syllables that a DJ can teach to a room in one pass, then ride for the whole night. The genius is how the song balances wink and grit. The acronym doubles as a punchline and a password. You can shout it at a pep rally and still feel like you're getting away with something. Sonically, the mix leaves the low end clean and the mid-range bright, so it bangs on car systems and FM radio.
Well, if you do, that's O.P.P and you're not down with it. But if you don't, here's your membership. You're down with O.P.P. Yeah.
Plenty of rappers made novelty crossovers. Naughty by Nature made a durable one, proving that chantable doesn't have to mean corny, and that a razor-wired MC can live in the top 10 without sanding off the edges.
Who disrespect me like a dame, that's why I'm talking. One day I was walking down a block, I had my cut off short.
U.N.I.T.Y. is message rap that swings, a warm jazz-tinted loop under a performance that refuses to blink. The record does something rare for its time. It names the harm, street harassment, domestic violence, casual misogyny, confronts it in plain language, and still delivers a hook radio couldn't ignore.
Nasty, I turned around red, somebody was catching a rat. Then the little one said,
Yeah, me, bitch.
Latifah's cadence sits right in the pocket, authoritative without shouting, conversational without softening the blows, and the chorus resolves like a hymn you think you've known all your life. Technically, it's a lesson in arrangement dignity. The drums breathe. The bass leaves space for the vocal to land. Little horn and keyboard touches frame the message without tugging at your sleeve.
here we go, U.N.I.T.Y. You gotta let 'em know, U.N.I.T.Y. That's what I'm on, here we
More important is what it normalized. A woman MC controlling the frame on mainstream radio, refusing euphemism while insisting the groove remain undeniable. When people call the record important, they often mean respectable. What it really is effective. It got bodies moving and moved the Overton window of what could be said at 4 p.m. on the dial.
I see my homie and some suckers all in his mix.
I'm getting jacked, I'm breaking myself.
Regulate is a West Coast night drive. Cool air in the car, street lights ticking by, danger narrated in an almost bureaucratic calm. Warren G's storytelling flows like conversation. He doesn't over-dramatize, which makes the turns of the tale hit harder.
They going straight down for pound. They wanna come up real quick before they start to clown. I best pull out my strap.
Nate Dogg's hook is the genre's gold standard of sung rap choruses. Baritone bomb and threat in the same breath, turning the record into a movie with a chorus as the poster line. Under the hood, the groove is G-funk, sine wave leads, velvety chords, a sub-friendly bass line that always makes room for the kick. What matters is how accessible it made that palette. This isn't the bombast of early West Coast dominance, it's the quieter claim. We'll narrate the city like it's normal, and you'll listen because the mix feels like home.
Need of some desperate head. The Nate Dogg and the G-Child were in need of.
Structurally, the song is all about trust. Verses set up by quick, precise cuts. Bridges that widen the stereo image without spiking volume. A chorus that lands without key changes or vocal gymnastics. In a decade obsessed with escalation, Regulate proved that restraint could own the chart. Crossroads turns the high wire of rapid-fire harmony into a public ritual of mourning. The group's signature is technical, double-time cadences braided with sung melody. But what elevates this record is its emotional arithmetic. The drums are soft-edged, almost cushiony, the bass warm rather than aggressive. The synths and choral pads paint a church without pews. Bone's vocal stacks act like stained glass, light coming through pattern rather than solo fireworks. The writing folds tribute into catechism, verses addressing lost friends and mentors, a refrain that comforts as it circles back, lines about judgment and reunion that feel like they've been sung for centuries. On paper, it's a paradox, a hard group making a gentle number one, but on record, it's inevitable. The arrangement never crowds the grief, it carries it, and in doing so, Bone widened rap's expressive bandwidth. Toughness could cry, speed could console, and harmony could be as street as any chant. You could chart the late 90s by a single beat, two-note synth motif, cavernous clap, iron bar kick, Swizz Beatz' minimalist blueprint, DMX's roar on top. Ruff Ryders' Anthem is a call and response weapon disguised as a single. The hook is practically a drill command, stop, drop, with built-in choreography. X's voice does what the mix refuses to. It distorts on impact, human clipping that becomes a texture. Verses march in block capitals, short lines, end rhymes like hammer strikes, ad-libs as pack howls. What the record changed was temperature. After a run of glossy, sample-rich radio rap, this felt like concrete at night. Cold, echoing, functional. The minimalism is deliberate. No pretty harmonic movement, no lush pads, just negative space that makes every bark feel seismic. And it reset New York's center of gravity. You didn't need opulence to sound enormous. You needed conviction and a beat that knew when to get out of the way. Within months, the street didn't just have a new anthem, it had a new aesthetic. Lean, hungry, undeniable.
In times of Sean Carter, Volume 2.
At the end of the decade, Jay-Z made the unlikeliest sample on urban radio sound inevitable. The 45 King loops the children's chorus from Annie into a 4-bar hook that's equal parts lullaby and taunt, then drops it over drums dry enough to cut through any mix.
Controlling the house, we live in hard knocks. We don't take over, we ball blocks. Burn them down and you...
The juxtaposition is the point. Broadway innocence against hustler calculus. Jay locks his cadences to the negative space around the snare, gliding across bar lines with internal rhymes that feel conversational until you try to rap them yourself.
Rather that, I flow for chicks wishing they ain't have to strip to pay tuition. I see your vision.
Arrangement discipline is everything here. The chorus lands because the verses don't overshare. No stacked ad-libs, no gratuitous doubles, leaving headroom so the hook can feel twice as large without turning the faders.
When I come through, the life and times of Sean Carter, Volume 2.
Lyrically, it reframes aspiration. Not the fantasy of arrival, but the pragmatism of getting through the knocks. Culturally, it proved that pop-scale choruses could coexist with street repertoire without sanding off either side, setting a template for late 90s crossover rap that didn't apologize for its edges.
Who you gonna tell when the repercussions spin? Showing off your ass cause you thinking it's a trend.
A song that behaves like a syllabus. Lauryn Hill writes it, produces it, sings the hooks, and raps the verses, then arranges it to make those roles feel like one voice. Musically, it's a time fold, 60s school horns and hand claps, a rolling bass line that moves like old soul, a drum pocket tight enough for modern radio, and call and response figures that function like choir and crowd at once.
You know you better watch out. Some girls.
The record is didactic without being didactic. She speaks plainly to women and men, then underlines the lesson with melodic sweetness rather than scolding. The technical flex is in form. The beat never needs to escalate because the vocal arrangement does. Stacked thirds in the hook, quick unisons to punch a bar end, then a resolve that makes the chorus feel like a proverb you already knew.
Come again. And sister, come again. Yeah.
Debuting at number 1 only confirmed what the record's architecture implies. You can make something pedagogical and pleasurable, a dance floor corrective that still bangs in a car stereo at 2 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Rain, what a shame. I got the armor or the shine up the same. Oh, Miss.
If you want to hear the rhythmic grid of mainstream rap get rearranged in real time, start here. Timbaland's production is minimalist and alien, sub-heavy kick, clipped snare, hi-hats that seem to skip and stutter, and the Ann Peebles reference, I Can't Stand the Rain, boiled down to a texture rather than a retro wink.
Up the same. Oh, Missy, try to maintain.
The beat leaves acres of air. Missy uses it like a playground. Rubbery flows, sung fragments that morph into chants, internal rhymes that hit on the ands where other MCs would chase downbeats.
7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 10. Begin. I sit on heels like Lauryn. And
What's radical is how little needs to be present. No dense sample stacks, no wall of keys, just a few precisely chosen timbres and a voice that treats silence as percussion. Every earworm, beep beep, who got the keys, is placement as much as writing, dropped exactly where the rhythm hiccups. The result wasn't just a hit, it was a new operating system. After the rain, radio had to make room for sparseness as swagger, for swing that pushes and pulls in micro timings you feel before you can count them. This video is sponsored by the Lore Store on Amazon, your one-stop shop for music lovers across reggae, rock, pop, and hip-hop. We built it for real listeners who don't want to dig through 1,000 listings to find the right gear. Inside the Lore Store, you'll find 5 aisles. VIP, top, battle-tested essentials. Headphones, turntables, speakers, gig-safe earplugs, smart speakers. Reggae vibe, roots and lovers. Rock made easy, automatic decks, warm bookshelf speakers, vinyl care. Rock lore, classic rock must-haves, open back cans, simple amps, living room concert vibes. Pop lore, feel-good everyday setups, clean, clear speakers, easy streaming, nostalgia-friendly picks. Hip-hop must-haves, punchy bass without the muddle, closed-back headphones and living room systems that handle low-end, plus a rotating crate of old album vinyl if you're rebuilding a 60s-90s collection. Every product page tells you who it's for, 3 pros, 1 con, and why we picked it. So you can choose with confidence. Flying soon? Check. VIP for noise canceling that tames plane roar. Mostly listening at home? Try open-back headphones that let live albums breathe. Want instant gratification vinyl? Our fully automatic turntable is 1 button from silence to music, and the record cleaning kit knocks down crackle so the bass tightens up. Headed to shows? Grab high-fidelity earplugs. Hands-free at home? Our smart speaker picks let you say, play 70s reggae or classic pop, and you're there. Deal alert! If you use the link in the description, you'll land on our curated picks with current best available Amazon pricing and active discounts where applicable. Prices change, so buy now to lock in today's deal. Tap the link in the description, pick your aisle, grab a favorite, and tell me which category you want me to build next. The Lore Store. Listen better, with gear that gets out of the way and lets the music live.
Big noise over 1 million sold to this day. They take it like they 96 gonna be that year that all y'all players hit.
Me and you, your mama and your cousin too. A hook that sounds like a front porch chant becomes the axis of a quietly revolutionary single. OutKast stripped the beat to essentials. A woozy descending synth motif. A patient 808. Hi-hats that tick like a ceiling fan. And bass notes that hang just long enough to bend the bar's shape.
Rock to bangin', say mother, that plaguin', they payin'. We stayin' leggin' vocals, locales done, made it with
the tempo leans back, not forward, giving Andre 3000 and Big Boy room to stretch phrasing into conversational confession. True, I got more fans than the average man, without the urgency evaporating. The production aesthetic, spacey, humid, sparse, recenters the map. This isn't trying to be New York or Los Angeles. It's Atlanta weather rendered in sound. The writing rejects caricature for diary entry, toggling between come-up mythology and rent-due arithmetic. Elevators didn't just announce a region, it proved that the South could export interiority as a product, and that minimal meditative funk could be a summer staple without turning into wallpaper.
Charlie, the word is the herb, and I'm deep like Bob Marley. Lay back on the payback, evolve, rotate
The canonical posse cut, not because it crams features onto a record, but because its structure is pure kinetics. Ali Shaheed Muhammad's drum programming is dry and forward, the low end disciplined, the sample palette percussive rather than lush, designed to carry voices, not compete with them.
on the payback, evolve, rotate the gates. Contact, can I get a hit?
Q-Tip sets the table with relaxed authority. Fife spikes energy with tight internal rhyme runs, and leaders of the new school surf the momentum until Busta Rhymes detonates the last verse with a performance that still reads as a career birth.
Gets down for the flex. Next is the textbook old to the new, but the rest are doo-doo.
What makes Scenario tick is choreography. Each verse changes the song's center of gravity. Tone, timbre, and rhyme density tilt upward. So by the time the final 16 lands, the track feels like it's hovering an inch off the floor. The hook is engineered like a crowd control device, easy enough to chant on first listen, flexible enough to sit between any two verses without feeling pasted.
Later alligator, pop blows a weasel and the earth's an inflator. So yo, the D what?
In a year stacked with boom bap essentials, Scenario is the one that teaches you how a rap record can stage its own escalation and still sound like a party that just happened to be caught on tape.
And I was speed for cracks and weed. The combination made my eyes bleed. No question I will
CREAM is austerity as aesthetic. RZA strips the track to essentials. A dusty piano loop pitched like winter, drums that thud rather than sparkle, bass that occupies space without advertising itself. The beat doesn't develop, you do, as Raekwon and Inspector Deck unfold street economies with the calm of men who've done the math too many times.
I got with a sick tight click and went all out. Catching keys from cross seas, rolling in there.
Method Man's hook, Cash Rules Everything Around Me, isn't a chorus so much as a thesis, a moral reduced to a chant that outlived the song and re-entered the world as slang, then worldview. Technically, the record is a masterclass in dynamic restraint. No transitional symbols, no plush pads, just negative space that makes every consonant land like a snare.
Gate now.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo.
Deck opens with observational density. I grew up on the crime side. Rakim-level internal rhyme welded to stoic delivery. Ray's verse is warmer but no less flinty, closing the loop between aspiration and actuarial table.
On arrival, I peep at the shape of the streets to stay awake to the ways of the world. Deep.
CREAM. Change the game not by scaling up, but by scaling down, proving that minimalism could be maximal impact and that a hook could become currency in the culture's mouth.
Time to start the revolution, catch a body head for Houston once they caught us off guard.
DJ Premier builds a mise-en-scène with a few brushstrokes, a grim minor key piano figure, crisp snare with just enough room tone, hi-hats that tick like a watch at 3 a.m. It's a beat you can walk through, which is exactly what Nas does. Camera at eye level, lens wide.
Niggas pulling the triggers, bringing fame to their name and claim some corners, cruise without guns upon.
The opening couplet, rappers I monkey flip 'em, announces breath control and bar geometry. Most MCs spend careers chasing. Then the verse stops showing off and starts showing. Entryways, stairwells, creased bills, coded looks, Queensbridge rendered as coordinates and routines.
Guns upon us, in broad daylight, stick up kids, they run upon us, 4-5s and gauges.
Listen to how Nas manipulates time. He runs whole clauses over bar lines, then snaps back to the one like a rubber band. Multis are deployed for propulsion, not decoration. Internal rhymes create micro-cadences that let the beat feel both unhurried and inevitable. Premier drops tiny mutes and stutters, barely there, but enough to make the loop breathe with the narration.
Few chicks scream, my arm shook, couldn't look, gave another squeeze, heard it click, yo, my shit is stuck.
The record didn't need a sing-along. It gave the decade a writing standard. From this point forward, cinematic in rap meant more than polish. It meant clarity of observation, married to rhythmic discipline.
Easy, trying to raise a man. You always was committed, of course.
The most radical thing about Dear Mama is its gentleness. Over a warm soul bed and soft-edged drums, Tupac speaks directly to Afeni Shakur, refusing big metaphors in favor of granular gratitude. welfare lines, childhood hunger, adolescent anger. The specific humiliations of poverty survived together. The vocal sights forward in the mix, intimate enough to hear breaths and small cracks. The cadence is half spoken, half sung, emotion dictating rhythm rather than the other way around.
Plan to show you how I understand. Mom, you all appreciate it.
Structurally, it's a sermon you don't realize is a sermon. Each verse confesses, absolves, and thanks. The refrain resolves like a promise. What changed the game wasn't just that a hard rapper made a soft record. It's that vulnerability became a public value without sacrificing credibility. Dear Mama expanded hip-hop's liturgy, mourning, protest, bravado, and now filial love as civic speech.
Say I'm wrong and I'm heartless, but all along I was looking for a father, he was gone.
No #1 brag required. The song was later enshrined by the National Recording Registry because it captured something larger than the charts. A country hearing a son honor his mother and hearing itself in the echo.
When I used to eat sardines for dinner, piece to Raw G, Brucey B, Kid Capri, Funk Master Flex.
Juicy is rags to riches as documentary, not fable. Puff Daddy and Trackmasters flip a plush M-Tomb groove into a runway. The drums are roomy but punctual, leaving Biggie's baritone miles of mid-range. He doesn't sprint to the hook, he strolls, naming names, magazines, DJ shoutouts, and housing situations with the specificity of a ledger.
I'm to get paid, blow up like the world's trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I...
The technique is subtle and devastating. Internal rhymes that feel conversational, cadences that switch gears mid-bar without calling attention to themselves, punchlines that grin without undercutting the gratitude. Two production choices seal the record's fate. First, the contrast between luxurious sample and low-to-the-ground storytelling. The sheen doesn't dilute struggle, it stages it.
It's personal with Robin Leach, and I'm far from cheap. I smoke soap with my peeps all day. Spread love is the...
Second, the chorus invites the listener to identify, not just envy. You know very well. Immediately turns the crowd into co-narrators. Juicy didn't merely restore New York to the national feed. It standardized autobiographical triumph as a pop vehicle, teaching radio that specificity could be universal if the pocket was right and the writing honored detail.
To the phone, Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up.
If Juicy is a stroll, Gathang is a glide. Dr. Dre retunes the national ear to G-Funk's sine wave leads, warm roads-like chords, and drums that swing rather than stomp. The kick and snare are immaculate, but it's the feel, laid back, behind the beat, that made daytime radio start to lean.
Yeah. And that's realer than real deal, Holyfield. And now you hookers and hoes know how I feel. Well,
Snoop's entrance is a design choice as much as a feature. A silky drawl that rides the grid like a lowrider suspension. Conversational until the moment a line needs to snap.
No loving good enough to get burned while I'm up in it. Yeah. And that's realer than real deal, Holyfield. And
the mix is a marvel of clarity. Nothing collides. Each instrument occupies a lane. Small mutes and drops create the illusion of development without clutter.
Know how I feel. Well, if it's good enough to get broke off a proper chunk, I take a small piece of summer.
Lyrically, the duo declines to over-explain. No manifesto, just vibe, presence, and a confident refusal to raise the pulse. The video's backyard party and freeway scenes exported a whole civic aesthetic. Los Angeles as sunshine and menace, family reunion and flex.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make...
Gathang didn't just top charts. It set the radio's swing for years, built the bridge to the Chronic's reign, and proved that the cleanest mix can carry the heaviest cultural weight.
And I'm creeping, but I damn near got kept, cause my beeper kept beeping. Now it's time for me to make my impression.
The journey doesn't end here, hip-hop warrior. Watch this next.